This is Ogtv Main News. I am Bukola Agbakisu. On the news, Governor Abiodun reiterates support for security agencies. President Buhari tax IG, INEC chairman on provision of level playing ground for electoral process. Stampede kills 50 people at General Suleimani's funeral. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often.
And coming on business news tonight, oil price rises above $70 amid US-Iran face-off. We bring you details on the business segment of the news. I am Ido Fabaju. Good evening.
And tonight on the sports segment of the news, Fury sets retirement date ahead of Wilder rematch. This boxing stories and many more when I return. My name, Hakeem Akitunde. You're welcome.
The current administration in Ogun State will continue to support all security agencies to actualize its dream of creating jobs for the teeming youth by influx of more industries and improved ranking of the state in the Ease of Doing Business Index. The governor of the state, Prince Dapo Abiodun, stated this while receiving the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Ahmed Ilyasu, on a courtesy visit in his office. Governor's office correspondent Tunde Olanero has the details.
A statutory visit it was for the Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 2. For AIG Ahmed Ilyasu, it was a homecoming to a state where he had served as Commissioner of Police for 3 years, 2016 to 2019.
Reviewing the security architecture, what is the essence of economic development by deploying more sophisticated patrol vehicles and logistics to enhance the security architecture of the state.
The purpose of his visit was to meet with the men on the ground and instill in them the thematic thrust of the Inspector General of Police for the year 2020.
Improving the overall efficiency of the force through capacity building and policing, technology, intelligence, investigation, prosecution, as well as crime prevention and control through more robust visual policing. Also, to have an interface on full implementation of the community policing strategy and the strengthening of other strategies with a view to aligning them to projected crimes and thereby remaining ahead of criminal elements and sustaining the current gains we have recorded in our internal security management.
The governor of Ogun State, Prince Abiodun, expressed confidence in the security of lives and property in both Ogun and Lagos states by virtue of the experience and familiarity of the AIG.
Consequently, on assumption of office, we immediately prioritized reviewing what our security team would need to function effectively and efficiently. Amongst others, we set up the Rejigged Security Trust Fund. We populated it with people who are credible. We convinced the chairman of Lafarge to assume chairmanship, and we have a few executive directors of different banks as members of that board. We further decided to acquire some patrol vehicles and motorcycles for our law enforcement team. Some of those have been deployed, accordingly to strategic areas. We also look at security from another aspect. We believe that there is a direct relationship between unemployment and insecurity, because like they say, the idle mind is a playground for the devil. So we created a job portal to allow us to dimension how many people are unemployed in Ogun State. And that job portal showed us that we did have quite a large number of unemployed or underemployed.
He observed that the security of lives and property in the state is paramount to his administration's quest to take the state to the next level.
The governors of the Southwest also had come together to also discuss the issue of security. We had a security summit in Ibadan, and following that security summit, we decided that we should pool resources together to support our law enforcement team. In the first few weeks of our administration, there were a few tests to our will by way of some kidnap situations that occurred in where you mentioned Ogumaki and somewhere around Ogbere. And the effort of our very gallant men of the police and the state security, in collaboration with some of our vigilantes and civil defense and hunters, helped us in bringing those matters to arrest within 24 to 48 hours. Our security trust fund is not just set up to purchase equipment for the police, but to also ensure that those vehicles are well fueled, they are well managed, they are well maintained, and all the men that will be assigned to the patrol using those vehicles and motorcycles, that their welfare is also taken into consideration.
The governor, however, appreciated the Inspector General of Police for the steps taken in the area of community policing, noting that this will further secure the nation. Tunde Olaniro, Ogtv News.
Similarly, modern technological ways of tracking, intercepting, and checkmating nefarious activities of hoodlums and criminals across Lagos and Ogun states are being deployed to strategic locations towards ensuring effective policing in the zone. Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 2, Ahmed Ilyasu, stated this during his official visit to Alake and Paramount ruler of Igbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo in Abeokuta. Peter Falomo reports.
It was a homecoming for the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 2, comprising Lagos and Ogun states, Ahmed Ilyasu, who left the Gateway State a few months ago as Commissioner of Police, but returning on an official visit to the state with a courtesy call on the Alake and Paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo. AIG Ilyasu said his visit is to carry along various stakeholders in the new trend of effective policing in the zone towards achieving a crime-free society.
I wish to call all the stakeholders, the media, the press, civil liberty organizations, and also human rights organizations to put our hands in this new thrust of the national security strategy. Policing is not the only it's not only meant for police, it's meant everybody is a policeman. In this community strategy, all stakeholders, farmers, hunters, professionals, students, you are called upon to put hands so that we can secure the internal security space of this country.
In his response, the Alake and Paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, described the AIG's achievements in Ogun State, particularly in the fight against crimes, as commendable.
I'm happy that we have somebody who is doing very well. Before it came to Ogun State, some banks were not opening in Ijebu side. We all know this. If they opened, robbers will come and carry away their money and shoot people. But that changed. Once again, I welcome the AIG, and I pray that the best is yet to come to you, that you have just started. The same thing for all the others who have followed you here. Whatever rank you have on your shoulder will not be the end by the grace of God.
AIG Ahmed Ilyasu also visited the police headquarters, Eleweran, Abeokuta, to interact with stakeholders on new strategies of policing and needed impetus towards improving security network with their counterparts in Lagos State.
I'm urging the chairman of the PCRC in Ogun State to further drive that innovation we are doing, that is the creation of micro units of PCRC. I want all of you to close your gap, work hand in hand, and assist the Commissioner of Police, you assist the police in Zone 2, you assist the security of this very important state.
The State Commissioner of Police, Kenneth Ebrimson, who appreciated the feat of AIG Ilyasu in the fight against crimes, as well as security of lives and property during his period in the Gateway State, said, officers of the command are leaving nothing to chance in building on the existing peace in the state with outstanding support from the governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun.
I use this medium to equally inform you that The vehicles that the governor provided for us, which we have placed at designated points, as you are coming, I'm sure you saw them, are those that respond promptly to distress call.
The security meeting became more interactive with members of SoSafe Corps, Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC, the Committee for Defense of Human Rights, CDHR, and other stakeholders in attendance. Peter Falomo, Ogtv News.
From security issues, we move on to other stories in the bulletin. The governor of Ogun State, Prince Dakpo Abiodun, has expressed the need to revive the reading culture among young Nigerians. The governor stated this when the national librarian, Professor Aino, paid him a courtesy visit in his office. Governor's office correspondent Tunde Olaniro reports.
And that is why you find that many Nigerians, when they travel out of Nigeria, they always excel because they have facilities that are lacking in Nigeria. And then you can now see why, as National Library of Nigeria, we want to ensure that you have standard libraries all over the country.
While responding, the governor of Ogun State, Prince Dakpo Abiodun, said his administration is committed to restore Ogun State.
We look at education as one, a means of empowering our youth, because if our youth are academically qualified, they are better positioned to be gainfully employed. And if they are gainfully employed, the chances of them being involved in crime or criminality will be substantially reduced. To that extent, we also, in line with our vision, which is to make Ogun State more attractive for investors, we appreciate the fact that as more investors come into Ogun State, they will come with their families, and they will also require schools for their families to attend. So we must also ensure that in that wise, Ogun State is also attractive. Those that are coming to Ogun State can say, not only is there an opportunity for me to establish presence in Ogun State, there are good schools for my children to attend.
The governor used the opportunity to highlight lots of ambitious things that have been embarked upon in the education sector.
We promoted 10,000 teaching and non-teaching staff. We have prioritized the welfare of our teachers. We're adopting the use of ICT also in imparting knowledge. We are also appreciating the fact that some, having gone to secondary school, may not want to proceed to universities, and also we're promoting vocational training as well. And we're proceeding to see how we can certify people who are trained so that they are better placed to become entrepreneurs by themselves. In the primary education sector, we have commenced the rehabilitation of one school per ward on assumption of office. To date, we've done over 200 schools across the length and breadth of the state.
He assured of a mutually beneficial relationship with the National Library, especially to have physical presence in the state. Tunde Olaniro, Ogtv News.
And still ahead in the news, Boko Haram terrorists ambush commander Operation Lafia Dole in Borno State. Join us for more in part 2 of the news. Yeah, welcome back. The news continues. With the immediate intervention of the current administration in Ogun State in public water supply, 7,000 homes in Abeokuta will be supplied with water in the next few days. The governor of the state, Prince Dapo Abiodun, gave this when he paid an inspection visit to the State Water Corporation, Abeokuta Main Water Scheme, Arakonga, Abeokuta. Tunde Olaniran report that other towns and cities in the state will begin to heave sigh of relief immediately.
Provision of social services to its people is one of the major responsibilities of government. The visit of Governor of Ogun State, Prince Abiodun, to the State Water Corporation Abeokuta Main Water Scheme was to ensure availability of water across the state. But what he met was not palatable.
And the equipment that we've seen, most of them are either obsolete or antiquated. They don't have a maintenance policy that is consistent with 21st century water distribution. As we speak, there is no electricity supply at the station. There is no water that can be treated. I have immediately intervened with the Ogun River Basin Authority to release some water for the corporation. Because during periods like this, the water level is so low. They would need the intervention of the Ogun River Basin Authority. They have nicely obliged us. They have started pumping that water since yesterday. That water level should be at the required level for water production, probably overnight between now and tomorrow morning. They've also had problems with their electricity supply. I have also intervened and I've called on the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company to restore power supply back to the corporation.
The good news is that there is light at the end of the tunnel, causing the immediate intervention of the governor.
I have also intervened and called on the company that is repairing the transformers, and they will try and ensure that we get one transformer back, probably in the next 10 days. We've also told them to order a backup transformer for us, so there's one that will be redundant. And the other one that's here, that's also in the state of disrepair, they will also pick that one up. So at any point in time, we'll have what we call N+2. There'll be one transformer working and there'll be two that'll be backing up. There has been no visible investment here, probably in the last, only God knows, maybe 15, 16 years. There's no working generator here. The newest generator here was supplied in 2010, but that generator has not been commissioned. So Ogun State Water Corporation does not have a functional generating set. In the next few days, we should be able to guarantee supply of water to about 7,000 homes. That should translate to much more than that in terms of people. And then as soon as the transformer comes back, then we should have an extra 15,000 in the next maybe 10 days once the transformer is repaired.
The benefits of adequate water supply is also for the people of Ogun West and Ogun East senatorial districts.
There are problems all over the state. And we've decided to look at a quick fix approach in dealing with the problems in other parts of the state. So in areas like Ibogila, Iboru, Ikene, Udogbolu, Jabode, those areas have, so to speak, independent schemes that rely on boreholes. So we're investing in the rehabilitation of those borehole pumps and whatever is required to treat water in those places. Fortunately, my understanding is that the waters from those boreholes are actually clean water that are clean enough to drink. So also in the next few days, residents in other parts of the state, other than Abeokuta, will begin to see water supply.
The governor said all hands are on deck to make the Ogun State Water Corporation 21st century compliant. Tunde Olaniro, Ogtv News.
Parents and guardians have been enjoined to attend promptly to the payment of the 13,950 naira West African Examination Council WAEC fees for their children and wards. The call was made by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in Ogun State, Mrs. Abosede Ogunleye, during the ongoing monitoring of school resumption exercise for the second term 2019-2020. Mrs. Ogunleye, who used the opportunity of the monitoring exercise to ascertain the level of preparedness of the schools and pupils for the WAEC examination, informed them that the registration would close in few weeks and non-payment means defaulting learners will unavoidably miss the examination. She reminded them that this examination was a key determinant of the successes of the wards, who had spent 6 years of their lives learning and without which none of their professional future ambitions can be achieved.
To do now is to be correcting names of those who have paid. If there's any mistake in your biodata, they are ready to, to make sure that they correct the mistake. So if you have not paid by now, then I wonder how, or the opportunity you want to give to WAEC to do that correction for you. Because if you are carrying your certificate and your name is quite different from your certificate, it's a problem. Not only that, if you have spent 6 years in the secondary school and you are not ready to write examination by not paying, of course, it is a wasted 6 years.
She added, by now, registration ought to have closed, leaving room for collation and ratification of candidates' details for documentation by the Ministry for onward transmission to the examination body. On resumption of schools, Mrs. Ogunleye noted that there was marked improvement in attendance on the second day of resumption compared to the first, as academic work had commenced in earnest. In some of the schools visited, the school heads admitted improved attendance on the part of the pupils and the teachers' preparedness to commence academic work for the term. Ogun State House of Assembly has confirmed the nomination of Mrs. Kike Lomolunge as Commissioner Designate in the state and the appointment of Justice Abolaji Ojo as President, Customary Court of Appeal. Also, the lawmakers have commenced the screening of members of the transition committees of the 20 local government areas in Ogun State. House of Assembly correspondent Kola Wole-Osho covered the screening exercise, and his report is presented in this package.
Barely 24 hours after the screening of the commissioner nominee and the nominee for the president of the State Customary Court of Appeal, the Ogun State House of Assembly has confirmed and recommended Mrs. Kike Lomolunge as Commissioner Designate and Honorable Justice Mobolaji Ayodele Ojo as the President, State Customary Court of Appeal. According to the report after the screening report read by the Majority Leader, Honorable Sheriff Yusuf, the nominees were found eligible and suitable to assume public offices as Commissioner in the state as well as the President of the Customary Court of Appeal. Consequently, Honorable Sheriff moved the motion for the confirmation of the nominees and seconded by Honorable Jemili Akingbade and Kemi Oduwole, supported by all the lawmakers through a voice vote.
Mrs. Kike Lomolunge is hereby confirmed to serve as a Commissioner in Ogun State, and the Honorable Justice Mobolaji Ayodele Ojo as the President of the Customary Court of Appeal in Ogun State, and can be duly sworn in by Mr. Governor. I so order.
Meanwhile, Speaker Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo has stressed the need for chairmen and members of the local government transition committees to put in place strategies towards promoting peace, inclusive governance and development at the grassroots. Oluomo gave the charge during the screening of the chairmen and members of the transition committees from Ogun Central Senatorial Districts. He urged them to lift the bar of performance at their various local government levels by complementing the state government's efforts at ensuring delivery of dividends of democracy to the people.
She must be fair to all concerned. And this issue of unnecessary rivalry at the local government level, your committee, as capital committee, should make sure that you bring it to the barest minimum in various local governments. No more somebody for Paul, somebody for Apollo. We should know that now it's time for us to work for the people of Ogun State.
The committees were also advised to avoid political segregation in the discharge of their duties while strengthening cordial relationship with all stakeholders for the development of the state.
President Muhammadu Buhari has restated his unshakable resolve to bring about a free, fair and credible electoral process in the country. To this end, he charged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the Nigeria Police to not only be firm and fair, but provide a level playing and securing environment for all in the discharge of their responsibilities. This was at a strategic meeting when he summoned the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu and Mohamed Adamu. President Muhammadu Buhari this Tuesday granted audience to the former governor of Lagos State and chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in furtherance of his strategic engagement with critical stakeholders towards taking Nigeria to the next level. The engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the state of the nation was the first in the year 2020. Discussions held behind closed doors centered on the security, stability, and socio-economic development of Nigeria. Speaking to newsmen shortly after, Chief Bola Ahmed Tinubu described the New Year message by President Muhammadu Buhari to Nigerians as thought-provoking and reassuring.
The message resonated very well. We have to relax, show concern for the people of the country, and see to the effort of the president that we manifest in the new, united, and prosperous country.
The APC chieftain was full of praises for the Nigerian leader over his decision to abide by the nation's constitutional term limits.
And to me, I say congratulations to a man of character and integrity. I was in the trench and in opposition to a thought-term agenda of a former leader of this country with Muhammadu Buhari, Mr. President. I know he will never. He has the courage and the character to refuse such a temptation, even if offered to him. I believe in him, and I believe Nigeria should, believe in him.
Asked to comment on the zoning formula by the governing APC for presidency in the next general elections, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu insists that time is not ripe for politicking. Activities marking the year 2020 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration in Ogun State will commence on Friday, 10th January 2020, with a special Jumat service at the Central Mosque, Kobite, Abeokuta, starting at 1 in the afternoon. A statement from the Permanent Secretary, Political Affairs and Administration, Alaja Selimot Otun, as if that an interdenominational church service will hold at the Cathedral of St. Peter, Ake, Abeokuta, on Sunday, 12th January 2020 at 10 in the morning. The statement adds that a special parade and laying of wreath will take place at the arcade ground, Okimoson, Abeokuta, on Wednesday, 15th January 2020 at 10 in the morning. The Nigerian Army says the accusation of extortion by Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State against soldiers will not be taken lightly. Governor Zulum had earlier in a video confronted soldiers manning Maiduguri Damaturu Expressway, accusing them of extorting travelers. In reaction to this, Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator Aminu Ileyasu, in a statement on Monday, said as a professional and disciplined institution, it will not take such allegations lightly, particularly coming from a state executive. They assure that the allegation will be duly investigated and culprits will be dealt with accordingly. The Nigerian Army, as a professional and disciplined institution, views such allegations, particularly coming from a state executive. It is on record that whenever such allegations of troops' misconduct were made in the past, the Nigerian Army never relents in conducting thorough investigations to establish them, and where any infractions were established against any personnel, appropriate sanctions were applied in line with extra rules and regulations as provided for in the Armed Forces Act Cap A20 laws of the Federation of Nigeria. This, the Nigerian Army wishes to assure the good people of Borno State and indeed the nation at large that any allegation of misconduct by Nigerian Army troops will be duly investigated and culprits will be dealt with accordingly, the statement read in part. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Army has confirmed an ambush by the Boko Haram terrorists on the convoy of the theater commander of Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Olusegun Adeneye. The Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Ileyasu, in a statement made available, disclosed that the attack took place at about 2 kilometers to Ono in Kaga local government area of Borno State. Ileyasu said the commander was returning from Jakana, where he visited troops' location following his earlier meeting at Ono with the governor, Babagana Zulum of Borno State. He said the ambush was a clear display of misguided desperation to stage a reprisal following the instant neutralization of several of their top commanders by troops on December 6. According to him, the theater commander led the gallant troops of his convoy to engage the insurgents with superior firepower, subduing them and thereafter assaulting the ambush site with his men. Ileyasu disclosed that 2 soldiers who were wounded in the encounter were currently receiving treatment at a military medical facility and are in stable condition. According to him, the theater commander, on behalf of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukoburatai, congratulates the troops for their resilience and courage. Reactions have continued to trail the increase in electricity tariff by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, which takes effect from April this year. Respondents who spoke with our reporter Idowu Fabajo in Abeokuta said government needs to pay more attention to the power sector to attract more investors. His reports.
The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission recently directed the 11 electricity distribution companies in the country to increase their tariffs beginning from January 1, 2020. An analysis of the latest NERC directive shows that the federal government agency has actually increased tariff payable by all the major classes of power consumers. Reacting to the hike in tariff by the NERC, respondents said more than 50% consumers in the country are without electricity meters coupled with epileptic power supply. They added that they are not totally against the increment, but such moves should come after necessary infrastructures have been put in place and must be done in a way that will not create hardship for consumers.
When I held it about 2 or 3 days ago that they are to increase the tariffs and whatever, in fact, I'm short of words. We are using light to, without light, there's nothing we can do with our jobs. Considering the inefficiency and the, can I call it, bad situation of electricity, supply in Nigeria for now, I don't think price hike is the next thing. If they are going to hike prices at all, I think they should first of all see how they can improve supply of electricity to consumers. A lot of us are complaining so seriously and bitterly about it because all the time our major problem in our own industry, printing industry, is about electricity supply. All other things are, we are able to handle them.
There is short in supply. The energy supply is not enough. In 24 hours, even in 72 hours, we might not have more than 2 hours supply. It is affecting our business, affecting Nigeria as a whole. Now they want to increase the price. If they should hike the price now, it means I, as a printer, I will have to hike my price and my services, which is going to affect the nation as a whole. It is going to affect the economy.
Meanwhile, the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA has said that the proposed hike in electricity tariff is necessary to get the power sector back on track. Its Director General, Mr. Timothy Olawale, said in Lagos that putting the tariff concerns in context, the issue of the increment was intended to enable the sector realize the right price for the product. Olawale explained that cost-reflective tariff was important to ensure that provider of the commodity or service could cover operational and capital expenses in order to stay in business and deliver on service. However, respondents are of the opinion that the federal government needs to do the needful before hiking the price.
We have many industries, factories that left this country for Ghana and some other neighboring countries. Some new ones are not ready to site their own industry in Nigeria because of this erratic power supply. Let them increase the rates of which they are generating, distributing the electricity to the cities and some other areas before we talk of payment for higher services.
I don't support it anyway, but they may have their own reason for hiking the price. But I believe if it's available for people to use, they will make money with it, then it will be easy for people to pay. Like me, when I'm running my studio, I run on Gen. When I have a photo shoot to cover or I have any event to edit, I use my Gen because the problem of this power supply is too much.
What Nigerians are agitating for is for the federal government to live up to its responsibility by providing social amenities, which include regular power supply, before even thinking of hiking in price of electricity. Idowu Fabajo, Ogtv News.
Governor Dapo Abiodun will on Thursday, January 9, 2020, inaugurate the Elders Advisory Council at Obas Complex State Secretariat, Okimoson, Abeokuta at 2 in the afternoon. The governor said the composition of the council was part of the government's desire to tap from the fountain of wisdom of the elderly in society and to give the state the benefit of the knowledge garnered over the years by these statesmen and women. A statement issued by Kunle Shomori said the newly constituted Elders Advisory Council comprises critical stakeholders from political parties in the state. Members of the council include statesmen and women who have the requisite governance, business and political experiences necessary to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people, the statement added. And on business news, Treasury bills interest rates dropped to a 12-month low. Details after the break with Idowu Fabajo.
Glad to have you join us on business segment of the news. We begin tonight with the oil prices, which surpasses $70 per barrel for the first time in more than 3 months, as the United States warned of increased threats to energy facilities in the Middle East after the assassination of an Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani, last week. The international oil benchmark, Brent crude, jumped 1.5% to as high as 70.74 per barrel, its highest price since September, before easing to $69.17 per barrel as of 5:10 p.m. Nigerian time. The 2020 budget, which was signed by the President Muhammadu Buhari in December, was based on oil production of 2.18 million BPD, with an oil price benchmark of $57 per barrel. Brent, against which Nigeria oil is priced, has climbed more than 5% since a U.S. airstrike killed Soleimani in Iraq on Friday. The federal government has, through the Debt Management Office, opened the January savings bonds offer to investors. The DMO on Monday offered a 2-year and 3-year savings bonds for subscription. The DMO said in a circular that the bonds were backed by the full faith and credited of the federal government and charged upon the general assets of Nigeria. According to the DMO, the closing date of the offer for subscription is January 10 and is due for settlement on January 15, while the coupon payment dates of the bonds are April 15, July 15, October 15, 2020 and January 15, 2021. The DMO said the 2-year bonds would be due on January 15, 2022, while the 3-year bonds would be due on January 15, 2023 at the annual rates of 7.144% and 8.144% respectively. According to the statement, the unit of sale is 1,000 naira subject to a minimum subscription of 5,000 naira and in multiples of 1,000 naira thereafter, subject to a maximum subscription of 50 million naira. The interest rates of treasury bills dropped to a 12-month low level of 3.5% at the primary market auction, which took place on Thursday. The rates drew closer to zero as investors sustained increased demand on the security. At the auction, the interest rate of the 91-day tenor closed at 3.5%, while that of the 182-day and 364-day tenors closed at 4.9%, 5.2% respectively. The Treasury bills market has seen its interest rate drop continually from over a month. A total of 74.84 billion naira was offered for subscription, while the DMO recorded a total subscription of 174.68 billion naira. The nation's stock market gained 241 billion naira in the first 3 trading of the year. The market, which recorded gains on 6 consecutive days, maintained its gaining streak into the new year as the market capitalization of equities climbed above the 13 trillion naira mark on Friday. Consequently, market capitalization rose by 179.1 billion naira from 13.020 trillion naira on Monday to 13.199 naira on Tuesday. Activity level was mixed as volume traded fell by 14.5% to 520.434 million units, while value traded increased by 42.3% to 5.351 billion naira. And that's all we have for you on the business segment of the news. Very big thank you to you for joining us. The main news continues shortly with Bukola.
Today, 50 people have been killed in a stampede as Iranians flocked to the burial of a top commander killed in a U.S. drone strike, Qasem Soleimani. Let's now join Olayinka Shodonke for details of this and more.
50 people have been killed in a stampede as Iranians flocked the burial of a top commander killed in U.S. drone strike. The deaths in Qasem Soleimani's hometown has led to the postponement of his interment. A new time will be announced later. Millions are already estimated to have packed the streets for a series of funeral processions in Iran. Soleimani's killing has raised fears of a conflict between the US and Iran. The head of the Quds Force was tasked with defending and projecting Iran's interest abroad and was hailed as a hero in his home country. To the US, he was a terrorist, and in explaining why he ordered the strike, President Donald Trump said he was acting on an imminent threat. Almost 2,000 houses have been destroyed in Australia's month-long bushfire crisis, officials have said, as crews prepare frantically for worsening conditions. After ferocious conditions last week, firefighters are using milder weather to boost containment lines around fire engulfing southeastern Australia. Temperatures are likely to soar again on Friday, prompting fears that 2 fires could form a new mega blaze. At least 25 people and millions of animals have died since September. Australia is fighting an unprecedented bushfire season, fueled by record temperatures and widespread drought. On Tuesday, New South Wales officials said fires had claimed 1,588 homes and damaged 653 more. About 200 homes have been destroyed in the neighbouring Victoria, adding to more than 100 lost in other states. A British teenager has been given a 4-month suspended sentence after being found guilty of lying about a gang rape in Cyprus. The 19-year-old hugged her family and left court, weeping after she was sentenced for public mischief. Her sentence was suspended for 3 years and she has been ordered to pay £125 in legal fees. The teenager now plans to return to the UK. Women's rights group protested outside the court ahead of the sentencing. Supporters from Cyprus and a group of 50 women who travelled from Israel gathered outside the district court on Tuesday holding placards. Chaotic scenes are unfolding at Venezuela's National Assembly as Guaido has gained access to the legislative building after a tense standoff with police. National Guards in riot gear had formed a cordon around the building, but Mr. Guaido and another 100 opposition lawmakers broke through it. The move comes 2 days after Mr. Guaido was prevented from attending a vote to elect him as Speaker. He called it a parliamentary coup. On Tuesday, Mr. Guaido arrived at the National Assembly building in a convoy of cars and buses carrying 100 lawmakers who back his re-election as Speaker. They were let through a number of checkpoints but not through the cordon of riot police surrounded the building. A tense standoff ensued. A 6.4 magnitude earthquake followed by severe aftershocks have struck off the southern coast of the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico, killing at least one person and injuring 8 others while collapsing houses, destroying a popular tourist landmark and leaving the island without power. The quake hit 5 miles south of the island's southern coast at 4:24 a.m., according to the United States Geological Survey. Just 10 minutes later, a shallow 5.6 magnitude aftershock struck 5 miles off the southwest coast near Talibor, followed by a shallow 5.8 magnitude aftershock at 7:18 a.m., 1 mile south of the community. The event prompted the governor of Puerto Rico to declare a state of emergency and activate the National Guard to deal with the disaster's aftermath. And that's it on The World Today.
Thank you, Olayinka, for that package. Over now to Akim Akitunde, who will serve us latest from the world of sports.
Sports segment of the news. Australian Open organizers don't expect any delays to the start of the tournament on 14 January, despite the ongoing bushfires in the country. Fires in Australia have killed at least 24 people since September, and millions of hectares of land have been scorched. Air quality in Melbourne has reached very unhealthy levels, but tournament organizers have introduced additional measures to ensure it can run. Qualifying for the Australian Open begins on Tuesday, 14 January, with the main draw starting on January 20. And to boxing now, Tyson Fury has revealed he could retire from boxing by the end of the year. The former heavyweight world champion said he will fight 3 more times, including against Deontay Wilder next month, before hanging up his gloves. Fury will bid to become a 2-weight ruler on February 22, when he challenges Wilder for a record time following their controversial draw in 2018. He could then face Wilder for a 3rd time this summer, leaving just 1 more fight before he retires. Still staying with boxing, Joseph Parker could be in prime position to fight Alexander Usyk for the WBO heavyweight title if Anthony Joshua is forced to vacate the belt. The New Zealander is set to return with a February fight in America, but is monitoring the title plans for Joshua, who has been ordered to face both Kubrat Pulev and Usyk, his IBF and WBO mandatory challengers. With each governing body attempting to enforce fight, Joshua is hoping a resolution can be agreed, although Parker could be well positioned to fight Usyk for the vacant belt after being installed at number 2 in the WBO rankings. And legendary boxing trainer Remy Shields believes that 2020 will be a defining year for Efe, the only one Ajagba in the heavyweight division. The Texas-based heavyweight capped a brilliant 2019 by beating Georgian Lago Kiladze in the 5th round at the Toyota Arena, California last month. 25-year-old had also beaten Alioren Demirezen on points, ex-WBO European champion Michael Wallisch and Amir Mansour earlier in the year. Shields, who has coached the likes of Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield in the past, has been training Ajagba since 2017. The 61-year-old coach also believes that Ajagba is improving as a boxer and wants to conquer the heavyweight division in the future. Let's quickly tell you that the ongoing African Player of the Year 2019 is going on, and it will be chosen from the trio of Sadio Mane of Senegal, Mohamed Salah of Egypt, and Riyad Mahrez of Algeria. In the categories decided so far, Ashraf Hakimi of Morocco scooped the Youth Player of the Year. Cameroon emerged the Women's National Team of the Year, while Riyad Mahrez's last-minute goal against Nigeria at last AFCON semi-final won the Goal of the Year. Thanks for watching. That was Post Updates.
You're welcome back. We now serve you weather forecast for Wednesday. Do have a lovely day, and just before we go on the news, to improve is to change, to be perfect is to change often. A quick look at the top stories of the news. Ogun State Governor Prince Dakpo Abiodun has reiterated his administration's support for security agencies. President Muhammadu Buhari has tasked the Inspector General of Police and INEC chairman to ensure provision of level playing ground for electoral process. Oil price has risen above $70 amid US and Iran face-off. A stampede has killed 50 people at General Qasem Soleimani's funeral. And Tyson Fury has set a retirement date ahead of rematch with Deontay Wilder. And that was the news. Many thanks for watching. Do have a wonderful night rest. Thanks so much for watching.